Hi everyone, and welcome to our brand new series, Budget Building. In this new YouTube series, I'm going to be using a set budget or a set number of packs, products, etc. to build a functional standard Pokemon deck. If you remember from last video, I got 9 packs of Surging Sparks from getting top 256 at Toronto Regionals, so what better way to use those cards than to try and make a deck? Do I think this deck will be any good? Probably not, but will it be fun to build and test? Absolutely. So let's jump right in and get this deck built. Alright, so first let's rip these packs and see what we get. Ooh nice, a Brilliant Blender. Not sure how useful that's going to be for a simple deck like this, but we'll see. We might find a use for it. What else do we get? Ooh, Altaria CX, okay. That could be useful if we make a deck with a lot of basic Pokemon. However, I don't think that's going to be happening with a deck that doesn't have a lot of EX Pokemon, so the basics won't be that useful until they evolve. Unfortunately, we didn't really pull anything else from the packs, but we did get some playables in the form of the Blender and the Altaria CX, so that's pretty cool. We also did get 1 Togekiss, so that's pretty nice as well. Alright, so now let's get to building the deck. First thing we should do is probably sort our cards by type. So there'll be Grass, Water, Fire, Fighting, Lightning, Metal, Dark, Psychic, Dragon, and Colorless Pokemon, as well as items, supporters, Pokemon tools, and stadiums. And I'm keeping the expensive cards separate from the rest because they're unsleeved and I don't want them getting damaged. Alright, now we've sorted all our cards. We've got a decent amount of each type of Pokemon. We've got some trainer cards, and we've got 10 energy cards. And you might be wondering why we have 10 energies even though we only opened 9 packs. And that's actually because I made a little mistake. See, I had opened a pack of Stellar Crown at the regional, and I put the cards from that pack in the same box as all these other cards. And while I did take out all the other Stellar Crown cards, I unfortunately forgot the 1 energy that came in that pack. But oh well. I was honestly considering allowing myself to use as many energies as I wanted, but then I decided to try and limit myself to only using the energy found in the packs. Alright, so let's get started with the basics of building a Pokemon deck. So first, we'll need an attacker, or in this case, many attackers. Second, we'll need a draw engine. In other words, a way to draw cards and search for specific cards. And finally, we'll need a way to accelerate energy. Now for a deck like this, energy acceleration would be more of a privilege than a necessity, just because we don't have a lot of cards to work with. But we'll see what we can do. The first thing I wanted to do was to see which Pokemon type I had the most cards of. I had quite a few Lightning Pokemon, and many of those were actually part of the same evolution line. For example, I had 2 Magnemite, 3 Magneton, and 1 Magnezone. And Magnezone could be a decent attacker. Plus, Magneton could be useful to accelerate some energies using its Overvolt Discharge ability. Plus, we also had a Tapu Koko as a backup attacker, and a Rotom that we could use for a bit of control. Now that we have some attackers, we still need a draw engine. Luckily, we have some cards that can help with that. The first one is this Klefki card. Its first attack allows you to discard a card and draw 2. This will be quite useful for us to get some cards into our hand when we don't have much to work with. I also decided to use this Dialga card with its attack that allows you to search for 2 cards and put them on top of your deck in any order. Some other cards we have that allow us to draw cards are Rellor and Rabsca, Blitzle, and Snorlax. And Snorlax is also really cool because his attack not only allows us to draw a card, but also allows us to attack for 20 damage using only 1 energy. Plus, it has 150 HP, which is quite a lot. We also have some cards for searching, like this Trapinch that allows us to search for 2 basic Pokemon and put them onto our bench, allowing us to get set up better. We also have this Vivillon line to help us search for our evolution Pokemon, as well as this Altaria line that can help us search for some energy and can also be used as another attacker. As for the energy we have to work with, we have 1 Metal, 1 Water, 1 Grass, 2 Fighting, 2 Fire, and 3 Lightning energy. Our energy types and quantities will obviously influence what attackers we pick for our deck, and because of this, the deck we have built has many different types of Pokemon, unlike a traditional deck, which usually has Pokemon of one specific type. So after half an hour of deck building or so, we have our final list. For our Lightning Pokemon, we have 2 Magnemite, 2 Magneton, 1 Magnezone, 1 Rotom, 1 Blitzle, and 1 Tapu Koko. For our Grass Pokemon, we have 1 Scatterbug, 1 Spewpa, 1 Vivillon, 1 Rellor, 1 Rabsca, 1 Exeggcute, and 1 Exeggutor. For our Metal Pokemon, we have 2 Iron Crown, 1 Skarmory, 1 Klefki, and 1 Alolan Diglett for that free attack. We're also running 1 Paldean Tauros as our only water Pokémon. For our fighting Pokémon, we have 2 Trapinch, 1 Mankey, 1 Primeape, 1 Glimmet, 1 Glimmora, and 1 Passimian. For our dragon Pokémon, we have just 1 Altaria with its accompanying Swablu, as well as 1 Dialga. For our fire Pokémon, we have 1 Vulpix, 1 Ninetales, 2 Larvesta, and 1 Volcarona. And for our colorless Pokémon, we have 1 Bouffalant and 1 Snorlax. As for our supporters, we have 1 Lysia's Appeal for some gusting effects, and 1 Drayton and 1 Drasna for some draw support. For our tools, we have 1 Babiri Berry, 1 Pasho Berry, 1 Colbur Berry, and 1 Counter Game. And for our items, we have 1 Dragon Elixir and 1 Call Bell, and we also have 1 Gravity Mountain as our only stadium. And finally, we have 1 Metal, 1 Water, 1 Grass, 1 Fighting, 2 Fire, and 3 Lightning Energy. And to top it all off, 1 Brilliant Blender. This can be useful to get some energy in the discard pile so that we can use Overvolt Discharge, or even just get rid of stuff we don't need to thin the deck. And there is the final list. Now that we have a deck, let's test it out. It's not good. At all. It's pretty hard to get anything you need without having any staple items or supporters like Ball Searchers, Arven, Iono, Research even. I found myself using Dialga and Klefki way too much, and I ended up having to attack with Altaria because I couldn't draw into many useful cards. This deck has no Ball Search cards, so you can't search for Pokémon, and it also has no way of searching for energy except certain niche Pokémon's attacks, and it doesn't even have enough energy to begin with. But, is it a deck? Is it a functional 60 card deck that can be played in standard Pokémon TCG? Yes it is. And that means we did it. We have successfully made a standard Pokémon deck out of 9 packs of Surging Sparks. Thanks for watching.